I still remember the exact sound the garage door made that evening. A low mechanical groan followed by the soft clunk as it settled. It was October 14th, 2025, a Wednesday. I'd come home 20 minutes early from the office because the server migration finished ahead of schedule. The house smelled like cinnamon from the candles Sarah always lit when she was baking or just wanted the place to feel warmer. Our daughter Mia, 8 at the time, was at her after-school art club until 6:30. The quiet felt luxurious. Sarah was in the kitchen, back to me, rinsing a wine glass at the sink. Her shoulders stiffened the moment she heard my footsteps on the tile. That's the first thing I noticed. The micropause, the way her washing motion slowed for half a second before resuming. "Hey, you're early," she said without turning around. Her voice had that practiced brightness she used on client calls. "Yeah, thought I'd surprise you. Where's the little Picasso?" "Still at club. I was going to pick her up in a bit." She dried her hands on a dish towel, finally facing me. Smile in place, eyes slightly wider than usual. "You want coffee? Or wine?" I leaned against the island, studying her. 12 years married, 14 together. I knew the catalog of her expressions. The real one when she was content, the polite one for strangers, the tired one after long days. This was something else, a fourth category I didn't have a name for yet. "Actually, I was thinking we could grab takeout after we get Mia. Thai, that place with the mango sticky rice she loves." Her phone buzzed on the counter. Face down. She didn't glance at it, but her fingers twitched toward it before she caught herself and picked up the towel again instead. "Sounds perfect," she said. "But I might have to run out for a quick thing first. Client drinks. Just a couple people from the agency. Networking thing. Won't be long." I felt the first small twist in my stomach. Not jealousy exactly. More like the sensation when you step on a stair that's not there. "Tonight? It's Wednesday. I know, bad timing. But they're only in town one night. I promised." She stepped closer, touched my arm lightly. Her fingers were cold from the sink water. "I'll be home by 9. Promise. We can still tie after." I nodded. What else was there to do? I kissed her forehead. She smelled like the same shampoo she'd used since college, plus something new underneath, a sharper citrus note I didn't recognize. She left at 6:15 wearing the navy dress she usually saved for presentations, hair down, small silver hoops. I watched her car pull out of the driveway from the living room window. The taillights disappeared around the corner, and the house felt suddenly too large. Mia and I ordered pizza instead. She drew pictures of dragons while we ate. I kept checking my phone. No messages. At 8:40 I texted, "Everything good?" Read receipt appeared. No reply. At 9:17 the front door opened. Sarah came in carrying her purse and a small paper bag from the pharmacy. Her cheeks were flushed from the October air, or something else. "Sorry, ran longer than I thought. Client wanted to talk strategy after drinks." She kissed me his head, then mine. "You two have fun without me." "Dragons and pepperoni," I said. "The usual." She laughed, but it sounded thin. When she went upstairs to change, I noticed the pharmacy bag on the entry table. Inside, a box of antacid tablets and a pregnancy test still in its wrapper. My heart did a strange stutter. We hadn't been trying for another child. We had talked about it once, years ago, and decided one was enough. But maybe she'd changed her mind. Maybe that was the secret she was carrying. I put the bag back exactly where it was. Said nothing. That night in bed, she curled against me the way she always did, but her breathing never quite settled into sleep rhythm. I lay awake listening to the house creak, wondering what else I wasn't seeing. The next morning, I found the pregnancy test in the bathroom trash. Negative. She hadn't mentioned it. I didn't ask, but something had shifted. A hairline crack had appeared in the surface of our life, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Sarah's behavior reflects classic avoidance attachment mixed with emerging guilt. The stiffened shoulders, cold fingers, and rehearsed brightness signal internal conflict. She wants to preserve the appearance of normalcy while concealing something that already feels heavy. Her choice to mention client drinks preemptively plants a cover story, a common tactic when cognitive dissonance is high. Confess a lesser truth to obscure the larger one. For me, the narrator, the initial response is denial disguised as accommodation, accepting the explanation because confronting it risks shattering the illusion of safety. This sets up an anxious, preoccupied pattern on my side. Hypervigilance to micro cues, twitch of fingers, flushed cheeks, paired with conscious suppression of alarm. The pregnancy test emerges as a red herring born of her own anxiety, perhaps fear of consequences from the affair or a momentary fantasy of escape through motherhood. Both characters are trapped in fear-driven performances, laying the foundation for escalating mistrust. The following weeks felt like walking on glass, every step deliberate, waiting for the snap. Sarah started working later more often. Q4 push, she explained. Everyone scrambling. Her agency handled digital campaigns for mid-sized brands. Deadlines were always brutal this time of year. I believed it at first, but small things accumulated. She changed her phone passcode, said she'd been getting spam texts and wanted extra security. Fair enough. Except now, when notifications came in while we watched TV, she angled the screen away instinctively. She bought new lingerie, black lace set I found in the laundry, not the practical cotton she usually wore. When I complimented it, she blushed and said, "Just felt like something different." The blush looked genuine, but the explanation felt rehearsed. One Saturday, she said she was meeting her college friend Lauren for brunch. Lauren lived in Chicago now. They hadn't seen each other in person for 2 years. I offered to join. Could be fun, catch up. Sarah hesitated half a second too long before saying, "It's more of a girl's thing. Deep talks, you know." She came home at 4:30 smelling faintly of men's cologne. Woody, expensive. I told myself it was probably someone at the restaurant. Mia started asking questions. Why's mommy always on her phone now? Why does she look sad when she thinks no one's watching? Children's observations are mercilessly accurate. I began noticing routes. Sarah used to take the direct path home from the office, highway to our exit. Lately, her arrival time varied by 20 minutes even on light traffic days. I checked her car's navigation history one evening while she showered. Yes, I felt sick doing it. Recent destinations included a coffee shop 20 miles out of the way, a park I'd never heard her mention, and, once, a hotel downtown. I told myself it could be client meetings. Agencies did off-site brainstorms sometimes. Then came the earrings. A pair of small gold hoops appeared in her jewelry dish, not hers. I recognized every piece she owned. I bought most of them. These were plain, masculine almost. When I asked casually, "New earrings?" she glanced at them and said, "Oh, Lauren lent them to me last time we met. Forgot to give them back." Lauren in Chicago. The brunch that never happened in person. The lie was so small it almost felt accidental. But once I saw it, the whole structure started to wobble. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I started paying attention in a different way, cataloging, not accusing. The way she left the house 10 minutes earlier on Tuesdays and Thursdays. The way she always charged her phone in the guest room now instead of beside our bed. The way she flinched when I touched her lower back, the spot she used to lean into. One night, I woke at 3 a.m. to find her side of the bed empty. Light under the bathroom door. I heard soft crying, muffled, like she was pressing a towel to her face. When she came back, she smelled like toothpaste and tears. She slid in, back to me, and whispered, "Sorry if I woke you. Just work stress." I put my arm around her. She didn't pull away, but she didn't relax either. The next day, I found a receipt in her coat pocket while looking for the car keys. Coffee shop, 2 lattes, $11.40. Date, last Tuesday, 7:42 p.m. The same Tuesday she'd come home at 8:35 claiming traffic. I photographed it, then put it back. Suspicion isn't a sudden thunderclap. It's water-wearing stone, slow, patient, inevitable. My central mistake was surveillance over communication, choosing secret observation instead of direct inquiry. This revealed deep-seated fear of confrontation and abandonment. By avoiding the risk of her denial or anger, I prolonged my own torment and allowed resentment to build unchecked. Sarah's mistake was layering small lies to protect the larger one. Each deception eroded trust incrementally and made eventual truth more devastating. The borrowed earrings fabrication and invented brunch exposed her panic-driven compartmentalization. She believed she could contain the betrayal by controlling information flow. Lesson for both. Unvoiced suspicions fester into certainty. Unspoken guilt poisons intimacy. Early honest conversation, however painful, might have exposed the wound before infection set in. Silence, not infidelity itself, became the true destroyer. Suspicion has its own gravity. It pulls everything toward itself until ordinary moments start to feel staged. By late November, the patterns had hardened. Tuesdays and Thursdays, Sarah left the office a little early to beat traffic, yet arrived home 20 to 30 minutes later than the drive should take. I began mentally mapping the extra time. 15 minutes to detour somewhere private, 10 minutes to talk or touch or whatever it was they did, 5 minutes to compose herself before walking through our front door. I never followed her. That line felt too final. Crossing it would mean I no longer trusted her enough to live in the same house. So, I stayed home with Mia, helping with homework, making dinner, pretending the knot in my stomach was just hunger. One Tuesday in early December, I found her work laptop open on the kitchen counter while she was in the shower. The screen hadn't locked yet. Email client visible. Subject line caught my eye immediately. Thursday follow-up. Let's make it count. Sender, Nathan Cole, Senior Creative Director at her agency. I'd met him once at the company holiday party 2 years earlier. Tall, easy laugh. The kind of charisma that makes people lean in when he speaks. Harmless then. Dangerous now. I clicked before I could talk myself out of it. The thread was short but dense. Her last message, sent 11:42 p.m. the previous Thursday, tonight was more than I expected. I'm still shaking. Can we talk about what this means? His reply, 8:17 a.m. next morning, you're not the only one. I keep replaying it. Thursday again. Same place. Her response, 9:03 a.m. yes. But we need to be more careful. I hate lying to him. I closed the laptop exactly as I'd found it. My hands were trembling so badly I almost dropped it. Nathan, not some random colleague. Not a one-off mistake. A person with a name, a face I could picture, a title that put him in meetings with her every day. The crying I'd heard at 3 a.m. now made sense. Guilt has a particular sound. Choked, private, exhausted. That weekend, Sarah suggested we take Mia to the Christmas market downtown. She was trying extra affection, spontaneous hugs, planning family things. I went along because Mia deserved one normal day. While Sarah bought hot chocolate, I watched her from across the square. She laughed at something the vendor said, head tilted back the way she used to laugh with me in our early 20s. The sight should have warmed me. Instead, it felt like watching someone else's wife. On the drive home, Mia fell asleep in the back seat. Sarah reached over and laced her fingers through mine. I've been distant lately, she said quietly. Work's been hell. I'm sorry. I squeezed her hand. I know. It's okay. It wasn't okay. But saying the truth out loud would break something neither of us could repair in front of our sleeping child. Monday morning, I called in sick. After Sarah and Mia left, I sat at the kitchen table for 2 hours staring at the laptop. Then I opened her calendar app on the shared family iCloud, the one we used for doctor appointments and Mia's recitals. Buried in the color-coded blocks was an entry every other Thursday. NC. Off-site creative session, location field, blank notes field, empty. Except one Thursday in October, the location read, The Emerson, Suite 1408. I searched the name. The Emerson was a boutique hotel downtown, known for business travelers and discreet meetings. Suite rates started at $420 a night. My pulse hammered in my ears. I Googled the hotel and pulled up photos. Modern lobby, brass fixtures, velvet chairs. I could picture her walking through it. Navy coat, heels clicking on marble, glancing over her shoulder once before stepping into the elevator. I didn't cry. I just sat there feeling hollow, like someone had scooped out everything non-essential and left only the ache. That night, I cooked dinner. Her favorite, chicken with preserved lemon and olives. When she walked in, she looked surprised, then guilty, then grateful in quick succession. You didn't have to do all this, she said, kissing my cheek. I wanted to. I needed to see her eat something I made. Needed proof that some part of our life still belonged to us. After Mia went to bed, we sat on the couch with wine. Sarah curled against me, head on my shoulder. For a moment, it felt almost normal. Then her phone buzzed on the coffee table. She tensed. Ignore it, I said. She reached anyway, reflex, and flipped it face down. The screen lit up again. I saw the preview before she could cover it. Nathan, tomorrow can't come soon enough. We're the green one. I felt the air leave my lungs. Sarah didn't move. Neither did I. The silence stretched until it hurt. The relationship crossed its point of no return in 3 cumulative stages. Stage 1. Emotional withdrawal. The shift from shared routines to parallel lives, marked by her new passcode and separate charging habits. Stage 2. Discovery of intent. Reading the email thread turned suspicion into knowledge. The words, "I hate lying to him," confirmed active deception rather than a momentary lapse. Stage 3. The preview message on the couch. "Tomorrow can't come soon enough. We're the green one." That single line crystallized everything. Not only was the affair ongoing, it was planned, anticipated, and clothed in intimacy, specific clothing preference. After that moment, reconciliation became mathematically implausible. Trust requires the belief that your partner chooses you when alternatives exist. Once I saw she was actively choosing someone else for tomorrow, the foundation dissolved. The point of no return wasn't the first kiss or even the hotel suite. It was the casual certainty in that text that tomorrow belonged to him. The hotel lobby smelled of cedarwood diffuser and money. Clean, expensive, and personal. I stood near the elevators for maybe 30 seconds, pretending to check my phone, while a bellhop wheeled someone's luggage past. My reflection in the brass doors looked like a stranger. Pale, eyes too wide, jaw clenched so hard my teeth ached. Suite 1408, 14th floor. The elevator ride up felt endless. Soft piano music played from hidden speakers. I watched the floor numbers light up one by one and tried to remember how to breathe normally. When the doors opened, the hallway was hushed. Thick carpet, dim sconces, doors spaced far apart for privacy. Room 1408 was at the end of the corridor, around a gentle curve. I walked slowly, shoes silent on the pile. Outside the door I stopped. From inside came the low murmur of voices. Not arguing, not hurried. The comfortable cadence of two people who had already said most of what needed saying and were now just being together. Sarah laughed. That soft, surprised laugh she saved for moments when she was genuinely delighted. I hadn't heard it directed at me in months. Then Nathan's voice, lower, teasing. "You always do that little thing with your eyebrow when you're thinking too hard." She answered something I couldn't catch. Then silence. The kind of silence that means mouths are otherwise occupied. I raised my fist to knock. Held it there. The skin over my knuckles went white. Instead, I took out my phone, opened the voice memo app, and pressed record. Held the microphone close to the door seam. 10 seconds. 15. Long enough to capture her sigh. His quiet, "God, I've missed this." Faint rustle of fabric. I stopped the recording. Deleted it immediately. I didn't need evidence for court or for friends or for anyone else. I needed it for the moment I would have to look in the mirror tomorrow and know I hadn't imagined this. I turned and walked back to the elevators. My legs felt mechanical, like someone else was moving them. In the car I sat with the engine off for a long time. Rain had started, thin, cold December rain that streaked the windshield. I watched it until the glass fogged from my breathing. When I finally started the car and drove home, the radio was playing some old song we used to dance to in the kitchen when Mia was a baby. I turned it off. Sarah came in at 10:42. She smelled of hotel soap, something citrus and expensive, and the faintest trace of his cologne. She kicked off her heels in the entryway, hung her coat, padded into the living room where I was sitting in the dark with a glass of whiskey I hadn't touched. "You're still up," she said softly. Surprise, not annoyance. Couldn't sleep. She sat on the arm of the couch, not quite beside me. Rough day. I looked at her. Really looked. The green dress was slightly wrinkled now. A tiny smudge of something, lipstick, near the collar. Her hair mussed in the way it gets when someone runs fingers through it. "Yeah," I said. "Rough day." She reached out, touched my cheek. Her fingers were warm. "I'm sorry I was late. Client wanted to keep talking." I nodded. Said nothing. She leaned in to kiss me. I turned my face so her lips landed on my cheek instead. She froze. "Everything okay?" she asked. I stood up. "I think we need to talk. But not tonight." She searched my face. For the first time I saw real fear in her eyes. Not the guilt she'd been carrying, but the sudden realization that the mask might have slipped too far. "Okay," she whispered. "Tomorrow. Tomorrow." She went upstairs. I heard the shower start. I sat back down and stared at the wall until the water stopped and the house went quiet again. The next morning was Saturday. Mia had a swim lesson at 9. Sarah drove her. I stayed home and packed a small duffel. Clothes for 3 days, toiletries, laptop. Not dramatic, just practical. When they came back, Mia ran in, wet hair, smelling of chlorine, chattering about her new dive. Sarah followed more slowly. She saw the duffel by the door. "What's that?" I'm going to stay with Jenna for a few days. Her face crumpled. Why? Because I know about Nathan. The name landed like a slap. She actually took a step back. How long? Long enough. Tears started immediately. It's not what you think. Then tell me what it is. She sank onto the bottom stair. It started as just talking. Late nights at work. He listened. Really listened. I felt seen. And then it wasn't just talking. How long? For months. Maybe 5. Hotel rooms. She nodded, miserable. A few times. Did you tell him you loved him? She looked up, startled. How did you? I heard you. Through the guest room door. 3 a.m. Her hands covered her mouth. Oh God. Mia appeared in the hallway. Mommy? Why are you crying? Sarah wiped her face quickly. It's okay, baby. Grown-up talk. Go get your tablet, okay? Mia hesitated, looked at me. I forced a smile. Go on, sweetheart. I'll be right there. When Mia left, Sarah whispered, I want to fix this. I'll end it. Today. Right now. I shook my head. It's not about ending it. It's about the fact that you chose it. Every time you left the house. Every time you lied about where you were going. Every time you came home and kissed me with his taste still in your mouth. You chose. I was confused. I was lonely. I was right here. I know. Her voice broke. I know. I picked up the duffel. I need space. I need to figure out what I want for Mia and me. You can stay here. I'll go to Jenna's. Please don't leave like this. I'm not leaving forever. Not yet. But I can't stay in this house tonight pretending everything's fine. She stood up, reached for me. I stepped back. Don't, I said. Not right now. I kissed the top of Mia's head on my way out. Told her I had to help Aunt Jenna with something for a couple days. She hugged me tight and asked if I was coming back for movie night on Sunday. I'll try, I said. I drove to Jenna's apartment. She opened the door, took one look at my face, and pulled me inside without a word. I cried for the first time since I was maybe 12. Ugly, choking sobs. She held me on the couch until I couldn't anymore. When I could speak again, I told her everything. She listened, then said the only thing that made sense in that moment. You're allowed to be destroyed by this, but you're also allowed to survive it. Fear, shame, and grief drove my every external move in this phase. Fear of confirming the worst kept me from knocking on that hotel door. Shame at becoming the spying husband stopped me from recording more than a few seconds. Grief at the death of the marriage I thought we had forced me to pack quietly instead of exploding. These emotions produced restraint rather than rage. I chose withdrawal over confrontation in front of our child, preserving her stability even as mine collapsed. Sarah's guilt finally surfaced as raw panic once named. Her tears and pleas were genuine, but arrived too late to undo the cumulative betrayals. Her offer to end it today was reactive desperation, not proactive remorse, an action still centered on damage control rather than accountability. The collision of our emotions produced the first real separation. My physical exit from the house became the concrete expression of an emotional boundary that had already existed for months. The next 3 days at Jenna's were strange, suspended. I slept on the pull-out couch, woke at 5 a.m. every morning with my heart racing, checked my phone for messages from Sarah that never came the way I wanted them to. She texted twice. Please come home so we can talk properly. I told Nathan it's over. He's not happy, but it's done. I didn't reply to either. Mia called me on FaceTime Sunday night. She showed me the fort she'd built in the living room with blankets and chairs. Sarah hovered in the background, eyes red, trying to smile for the camera. Daddy, when are you coming back? Soon, baby. I promise. Sarah mouthed, I love you, when Mia wasn't looking. I looked away. Monday, I went to a lawyer, not to file, just to understand options. The consultation was clinical, custody schedules, child support calculations, division of assets. The attorney was kind, matter of fact. Most people think they'll reconcile until they hear the numbers. Then reality sets in. I left with a folder I didn't open. Tuesday evening, Sarah asked if I would meet her at the park near our house. Neutral ground. No Mia. I agreed. It was cold. She waited on a bench under a bare maple, wearing the gray coat I'd bought her 3 Christmases ago. She looked smaller somehow. We walked the path around the pond. Neither of us spoke for almost a lap. I ended it, she said finally. Completely. Blocked him everywhere. Told my boss I needed to switch teams so we don't cross paths. I nodded. I know it doesn't erase anything, she continued. I know I broke us, but I want to fight for us. For Mia. For the life we built. I stopped walking, looked at the water, black, still, reflecting streetlights. Why him? I asked. The question had been burning since the hotel. She exhaled shakily. Because he made me feel like I mattered outside of being a mom and a wife. Like I was still interesting. Sexy. Not just functional. The honesty hurt more than any lie had. And I didn't. I asked quietly. You did. For years. But somewhere along the way I stopped feeling it. That's on me. Not you. We stood there a long time. I don't know if I can get past it, I said. I know. I see you with him every time I close my eyes. I hear you say you love him. She started crying again, silent tears. I thought I did. But it wasn't love. It was escape. And I hate myself for it. I believed her. That was the worst part. I believed the remorse was real. But belief didn't magically rebuild trust. I need more time, I said. She nodded. Take all the time you need. I'll be here. I drove back to Jenna's. And sleep. Wednesday morning Mia had a school play, third-grade production of The Giving Tree. I went. Sat in the back row. Sarah was 2 rows ahead. When the lights went down, she turned once, found me, gave a small, hopeful wave. I nodded back. After the play, Mia ran to both of us, proud, glitter still in her hair. We took photos together, the 3 of us smiling for her sake. In the picture, Sarah's eyes are shining with tears she's trying to hide. That night I came home. Not to forgive, not to forget, to try. Past versus present. The man who once left love notes on the fridge now leaves quietly for his sister's couch. The wife who used to reach for my hand in the car now reaches tentatively, afraid of rejection. Expectations versus reality. I expected marriage to be a permanent safe harbor. Reality delivered a reminder that safety must be chosen daily. Trust versus suspicion. Suspicion ruled for months. Every late night, every text, every new perfume note, until confrontation flipped it into raw, wounded openness. Love versus detachment. Love still existed, in the park bench plea, in showing up for Mia's play, but detachment had grown roots too deep to ignore. The contrast revealed transformation. I moved from passive observer of betrayal to active guardian of my own emotional survival. Sarah shifted from secretive escape to exposed vulnerability. The gap between who we were and who we became forced both of us to see the marriage not as inevitable, but as something that could end, or, perhaps more terrifying, something that could require deliberate rebuilding. We didn't rush back into normal. There was no dramatic reunion kiss, no tearful promises under the stars. We existed in careful parentheses for weeks. I slept in the guest room at first. Sarah respected the boundary without complaint. We co-parented seamlessly for Mia, school drop-offs, dinners, bedtime stories. But after 8 p.m. the house divided into separate orbits. Therapy started in January 2026. Individual first, then couples. The therapist, a calm woman in her 50s named Dr. Patel, asked hard questions without judgment. To me, what would forgiveness look like for you? Not forgetting, forgiveness. I didn't have an answer yet. To Sarah, what need were you trying to meet outside the marriage that you couldn't meet inside it? She cried through most of that session. We learned the language of repair, bids for connection, repair attempts, rupture, and reconnection. We practiced. It felt awkward, artificial at first. But slowly the awkwardness became familiarity. Nathan disappeared from her life completely. She changed departments at work. He left the agency 2 months later. Mutual decision, she said. I didn't ask for details. Mia noticed the tension, but not the cause. We told her, Mommy and Daddy are working on some grown-up things, and made sure she felt secure. Children are resilient when love is consistent. By March 2026, today, we're still together. Not the same, never the same, but together. The guest room is empty again. We share a bed, though some nights one of us still needs space and takes the couch. We talk more, really talk. About loneliness, about fear, about desire. About how easy it is to stop seeing the person beside you when life becomes routine. I still have moments, driving past the Emerson, seeing a green dress in a store window, hearing certain laughs, when the memory surfaces sharp enough to cut. But the cuts are shallow now. They bleed less. Sarah carries her guilt differently these days. Not hidden, not weaponized against herself, just present. A reminder that she is capable of harm, and therefore capable of repair. I carry mine too. For the months I watched and waited instead of speaking, for the surveillance that eroded my own dignity, for almost walking away without fighting first. We're not fixed. We're choosing. Every day. Last night, Mia asked why we hold hands so much now. Sarah answered before I could. Because it feels good to remember we're on the same team. Mia accepted that. So did I. I don't know what the next year brings. Maybe we make it. Maybe we don't. But for the first time in a long time, I feel like we're both actually in the marriage, not orbiting it, not escaping it, but living inside it, eyes open. And that, I think, is the only ending that matters. This story illuminates a universal human vulnerability, the slow, almost invisible drift that can occur when attention and curiosity toward one's partner fade into assumption. Betrayal rarely begins with malice. It begins with inattention, small, daily failures to notice, ask, to reconnect. Both characters suffered from perceptual blindness. Sarah failed to see how her unmet needs could be voiced inside the marriage. I failed to see how my fear of conflict was quietly dismantling my agency. Trust is not a static object that survives on its own. It is a living process requiring constant renewal through vulnerability and honesty. When broken, it can sometimes be rebuilt, not to its original shape, but to something stronger, scarred, and deliberately chosen. The deepest lesson is not about forgiveness or unforgiveness. It is about perception. We are all capable of both profound betrayal and profound repair, often in the same breath. What separates survival from collapse is whether we choose to look directly at the fracture and decide, together or apart, what to do with the light that pours through.